indoor and outdoor allergies.
Thousands of people are pitching in to do what they can do to help the survivors of Hurricane Katrina. And this includes providing evacuees with medical and psychological care that they so desperately need. Joining us now live is Dr. Pavan Grover. He's a volunteer with the Houston Astrodome Triage unit from right outside the Astrodome. Doctor, thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome, Eric.
You know, I imagine we talk about the diseases, the chemicals, the toxic waste, this sort of thing, but psychologically, this has got to be so excruciating for the people that you've been seeing, depression, anxiety. What are the psychological issues that we expect to face in the coming weeks and months?
Well, Eric, it's a very traumatic thing. Now, usually these people go through a certain amount of phases, kind of post-traumatic stress disorder. The first phase is kind of in denial. I remember the first night that I was here, which was last Thursday when the evacuees first came, people were kind of numb. They were walking around like zombies. After that, it changes into anger, frustration. That's what we're going to be seeing over the next few weeks. And then depression is going to set in. Now, for kids, they're very resilient. We played like a puppet game for the kids the other day. And if they haven't lost anybody, the more they get back into a normal life, the faster they'll get back into kind of a sane state of mind. If they've lost somebody, it's going to become a little bit more difficult.
Well, clearly, I mean, is it possible to get back to a state of normal life? We're hearing reports, obviously, the predictions could be that whole neighborhoods of New Orleans will be razed and rebuilt, some abandoned, and we've got thousands of people who will likely never return to New Orleans again and will live elsewhere because of this.
I talked to a whole bunch of different people in terms of what their plans were and psychologically, and I think you're right, and I think it's hitting them that they're not going to be able to go back to New Orleans. So they're either making plans to stay in Texas or go around other places in Louisiana. So I think there's some hope there in terms of their outlook. They're quite aware of what's happening in New Orleans.
There have been 2 cases we hear of infectious diseases. What have you been seeing there? Do you think anyone and everyone's been given a clean bill of health?
Well, here's the thing, Eric. You know, there have been 2 cases of TB at one of the hospitals here, but it wasn't confirmed that it was from the evacuees. I think when you have such a large number of people, you have a couple of factors here. You know, people from New Orleans actually have a higher rate of TB, so you have that incidence. You have people close together and in a place which, you know, ventilation could be an issue. There's going to be some cases, and we're not going to see that for the next couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next few weeks in terms of things like TB.
You know, this also not only has an impact, obviously, on those who live there, but also on the professionals such as yourself. I'm friends with some folks at West Jefferson Medical Center, Dr. Frank Kalickia there. They have been operating under horrendous conditions. There was no electricity. Now it's better. It's one of 3 hospitals working. How do the doctors, the nurses, the healthcare professionals deal with what you guys have to deal with as you give help to others?
Well, I think, you know, some of that's from training where when you're working like long hours, 36-hour shifts without sleep. So I think you just put the focus on the patient and do the best that you can for that patient and kind of ignore your own physical and mental well-being. Burnout is definitely an issue, especially when you have doctors working for long hours. But you're right, it's an issue.
They're talking about getting doctors from around the country, you know, helping. Is that a possibility, and do you think that will provide more effective medical care, especially when you have some of the major hospitals in downtown New Orleans, such as Charity, with all their problems, just now abandoned?
I think that would be a tremendous help. Even in Houston, what I'm quite impressed with is we have nurses coming in from San Francisco, we have doctors flying in from New York. I mean, the outpouring is just pretty touching. So I think any more people that we can get out to New Orleans, I think that would be great.
Yeah, well, the outpouring of this whole country is meaningful, and Dr. Pavan Grover, we thank you very much, sir, for your volunteering.
Oh, you're welcome.
For the folks in the Astrodome there in Houston. And straight ahead here on the Fox News channel, we will have the very latest on the continuing effort to get rid of the floodwaters. The good news is that New Orleans is expected to be dry by next month, but the electricity and the clean water won't be on for several more months. This, as they say, the death toll expected to be lower than that projected 10,000, way lower, hopefully. Coming up, Liz Trotta on how this is being seen in the media as Fox News' continuing coverage of Hurricane Katrina and its aftermath, America's Challenge, continues.